Took me a while to get around to this, but finally, here's a video on the TWSBI Diamond 50 Inkwell. Hey there, I'm Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and I have been carrying the TWSBI Diamond 50 Inkwell ever since they first came out, and I kind of just never really got around to shooting a video on it, even though I've gotten questions about it and so on, mainly because I never really had them in stock for very long, and you know, I just kind of didn't get around to it. But anyway, here it is now. I'm going to show you how to use the Diamond 50 Inkwell, how to use it with the 540, the TWSBI Mini, the 580, which is yet to be released as of right now, but it will be in the future. Probably by the time you're watching this video, you know, in the future, it'll be available. But anyway, here is how the bottle works. This is the TWSBI Diamond 50 bottle. This originally came out for the 540, but it fits the 530, which is now discontinued, 540, which is now discontinued, and the soon-to-be-released 580. By the time this video really gets out there, the 580 will probably be around and be prevalent everywhere, but as of the making of this video, it's not out yet, but it will fit this bottle. So the way this thing works, I mean, you can see the size of my hand, which is covered in ink because I've been playing with this bottle. You can see the size of this compared to my hand, and it's pretty big. The packaging is big, but the bottle itself is not too intimidating. Okay, so you take it off, and it has this little instruction guide here, which maybe you can get an idea of what's going on. This is basically just telling you to turn the bottle upside down and flip it back over. And it's got some instructions about how to fill it, but you're not going to need that because you're watching this video and I'm going to tell you everything. So here we go. Pull this thing out, and the thing is wrapped in foam, which is not such a bad thing because it's glass and it's, you know, not the cheapest thing in the world. So you want to make sure your thing is well protected. Here it is. This is the Diamond 50. It's a nice, attractive bottle. I'm really, really in love with the way it looks. The Diamond 540 bottles are available in black, blue, green, orange, silver, red, and purple. It's got Diamond 50 mil TWSBI on the bottom, kind of etched into the glass there. There's a few components to this thing, so I'm going to take it apart, show you what's going on. It's got this little cone on the inside, which is kind of neat. This is only something that you see in a very few bottles these days. Sailor has it, Namiki has it, and theirs, not Pilot, but Namiki does. And then the TWSBI bottle. And those are the only ones that I can think of at the moment that have these inserts. I don't know why more companies don't have these, quite honestly, because it's a cheap little piece of plastic that greatly increases the utility of your ink bottle. But anyway, that's in there. And then it's got two pieces to the cap. One is just a black metal cap here, and then this other aluminum part that has a couple of things going on that I'm going to explain. So, there's a few ways that you can use this bottle. Originally, this thing is designed for the TWSBI 540, 530, 580. And the TWSBI Mini also works on it as well. So, I have a 540 here, and I also have a Mini. The sections on these that are going to attach to here are the same, so I'll go ahead and forego the 540 because that is no longer available, and I'll use the Mini. But the concept is going to be exactly the same. So the way this thing works is you have your inkwell. You can choose to have the insert in it or not. For this purpose, I'm not going to use it because it's not really buying me anything. I'm going to take my ink of choice, which as you see is no name brand, watered down, you know, demonstration. It's not even really ink, it's like 99% water. But anyway, it gives you the idea. So I'm going to pour it into my bottle, decent amount, okay? And it's got this little rod here that's a little straw. You can see it's a straw there. So I'm going to screw it on, give it a good little twist. You can see here the rod now sticks down into the ink, uncap the pen, and the way to fill this thing is to actually unscrew the grip section of the pen. This is only on the TWSBI pens. And then this fits over top, just like so. Fits rather snugly. And then you push the piston down, and you can see there's some bubbles coming up down there on the bottom. And then when I go the other way with it, it's going to draw ink up into the pen, like so. And now my pen is filled for the most part. There's a little bit of air in there. I could, you know, go back and forth and do it again. to get a little more. Why not? There you go. If you do it more than once, then it really gets rid of most of the air. It's not going to get rid of everything, but it'll get rid of most of it. And then you just reattach your grip section, and your pen is nice and inked. You don't have any ink to have to wipe off the grip section. It really kind of works nicely for the pens it's designed for. The only problem is when you need to get the ink to actually write, your whole feed and everything, the nib is all going to be completely dry. So you can either let the pen sit for a while and let it naturally work its way through the feed, or if you want to, just unscrew the piston a little bit. You can see the ink's kind of working its way down through, and then just dial it back. And now your ink is saturated through the feed. And then you can be on your merry way and write to your heart's content. So that's kind of cool, right? It does work well, and you can actually use it with certain other pens as well. Now this is the only, the Mini 530, 40, 80 are the only pens that actually fit onto this thing with that section like so. But if you have a pen with a standard international converter, such as this Edison Nouveau Encore limited edition Fleck Tortoise, which you're going to hate that I show in this video because it's no longer available, but that's why I wanted to show it. Okay, this has a standard international converter, pretty common. It's the most standard of the converters that are available out there. A lot of brands have proprietary converters, but this is one that actually is compatible across some brands. This is actually made to fit right over this little end piece here. So similar concept to when you use the pen. You just kind of stick it on the end, and then when your little piston is down, you unscrew it, and it's going to draw ink up into it. Now it's only going to work, obviously, if you have enough ink in the bottle for that little metal piece, that little metal straw to get down in there. It gets pretty close to the bottom, but I would say, you know, if your ink level is below here, it's not going to draw much up into it. So you need to have probably, I don't know, 10 milliliters or so to be able to really use it. But as you can see, you know, I wasn't able to get a completely full filling, but, you know, maybe if I played around with it some more, I could. But still, it's a very clean way to draw ink up into your pen. Now, if you don't have a pen with either a standard international converter or a TWSBI pen, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can still use this bottle. The way that you want to do that, you dump that back in there, is with this little cone doodad. Of course, you can always fill the pen just directly from the bottle as if it was any other bottle, and that would be perfectly fine. You know, very acceptable way to go about it. But if you really want to get the most out of this thing, you want to use this little cone. Okay. As a demonstration, I'm going to dump some of this ink out so that you can see what it's like with just a little bit of ink in here. Okay, so I'm going to get it really low, like so. Now this ink volume is so low that if I was to try to fill it with a normal pen, my nib is not going to get near far down enough into the water or into the ink to be able to fill it properly. You know, I can try as I might, and I might get a few bubbles here and there, but there's just flat out not enough ink in this general container to be able to draw it properly, because I want to be able to draw the ink from, you know, right about here, which is where most pens fill from. So that's where this little cone comes in handy. So you can just drop the guy in there. And what you want to do is reassemble your cap assembly. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. And you want to flip it upside down. And when you're flipping it upside down, the holes that are in the top of that little cone are going to allow ink to go into the cone. And then when you flip it back over, voila, you have ink inside that little cone section. Take your cap off. There you go, just so you can get a better look at it. You've got more ink in there than you have in the rest of the bottle, so that allows you to stick your pen down in there, and you can actually get a full filling. Now granted, you don't have to actually take this thing out of the bottle, I'm just doing that to show you, but it allows you to be able to stick your pen down in there and actually get a full filling even when your ink level is lower in the bottle than you would normally be able to fill from if it was just the bottle. Now tell me, how cool is that? Why don't more companies do that? I don't have a clue. Wish they did, but anyway. TWSBI Bottles got it, so bravo to them. So if you've got a pen that doesn't fit onto the cap assembly, then you can still use this Inkwell with the cone assembly or without if you have a particularly huge pen. I don't know what pen wouldn't fit in here, to be honest with you, but if you happen to have one that's extremely large, you can still use it. Overall, very utilitarian bottle, big fan, comes in multiple colors, but that is basically how you use the TWSBI Diamond 50 Inkwell. If you have any other questions about the TWSBI Diamond 50 Inkwell, or anything else for that matter, feel free to leave me a comment. Thanks so much for watching and spending time with me today, and right on.